upper part.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
The upper part is the headaches,
Yeah.
and the lower part is his loose bowels,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, he couldn't control his urine.
The other thing is that I've read Hakikatul Wahi, which you may have read as well.
Yeah.
And again, coming back to the obsession with male progeny, there was one of his opponents, a Muslim called Saadullah. You know, I was reading the translation
And
to
he
my
cursed
son,
him. He
and
cursed him very bad.
he was hysterical with laughter because the man was crazy. Because what he said was, that Saadullah's son, he had got engaged, and he said, "I'm praying that he will never get married." Now, why involve the son? It's a bit like, you know, the Israelis are killing the children and grandchildren of politicians. So it doesn't make any sense. But poor Saadullah, instead of arguing with religious evidence and doctrine and Quran and Hadith, he became very personal. And then you may recall, and Sheikh Saab might know that in 1899 he was taken to a magistrate's court along with Sanaullah, along with Muhammad Hussain Batalvi, and the magistrate's name ironically was Dawi, James Dawi. And he had to give an undertaking that as from now I will never make any death prediction, not even that, or prediction of infamy. Now, what kind of a prophet suddenly gets convinced to stop making his prophecies because of a British colonial magistrate? I've got a copy of that. I've got a copy of that.
Being a prophet, if he can say, okay, if you don't like that I should use the word Nabi for me, okay, make it Muhaddas. No, being a claimant of the prophethood, how he has the right to say lies if he is giving you the prophethood?
You don't go back on that. You don't go back on that.
You can go back for that.
No, there's so much. We have talked about so many other things on the topic.
I just want to mention one thing, because as everyone knows, Mirza Ghulam Qadiani especially emphasized against jihad. Okay. Now the question is, as you can see in this quotation, he was willing to die for the Britons. He says that lihaza हमारे खानदान ने सरकारें अंग्रेजी की राह में अपने खून बहाने और जान देने से फर्क नहीं किया और ना अब फर्क है.
Well, jihad for the British, not against the British.
Subhanallah, he is willing to fight and to give his blood, sacrifice his blood for the sake of Britain, but for Muslim, jihad is haram. Subhanallah.
But you know, sorry, carry on.
I was going to say, if you put aside his claims to prophethood and being the promised Messiah and the Mahdi, if you just take his character when it comes to his desire to serve the colonial rule in India, that alone renders him
absolutely.
That disqualifies him from any decent claim.
Any Ahmadi who questions me, who's contacted me recently, quite a few have done. I asked them two questions. That firstly, think and reflect on the support he gave to the colonialists. Only today I was reading a book, and Adnan Bhai has an interest in history, on the Jallianwala Bagh massacre.
Yes, a massacre.
Was that freedom of practicing religion?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. That was a massacre, cold-blooded.
And after, that was a horrible massacre, even though the vast majority who died were Sikhs. But this claim, this false claim that the British allowed us to practice freedom of religion is bunkum. The Sikhs had taken away his land.
And it doesn't stop there. You know, the General Dyer, who gave the order to kill and target, don't spare any men, women, and children. You know, he actually ordered specifically, and 1,600 rounds were fired. Okay, and when the case was brought to the colonial establishment, he was acquitted. And one of the dark marks on Rudyard Kipling's profile is that he actually defended Dyer. Okay, and when Dyer came to Britain, funds were raised to actually help him out, to basically hail him as a hero. So this was the colonial establishment, and these are the kind of things this Jamaat was actually backing, even against the Ottomans. The role of the Jamaat was very.
And the Boer War. The Boer War.
Absolutely.
Where they were, the British invented the concentration camps. The first concentration camps in Transvaal. I think they gathered funds for them as well. And when Iraq was conquered by the British, there was a decoration.
Even the victory of Transvaal, they lightened that the Qadian. Just imagine, just like the Khilafat Usmaniya, when they did they delivered the mithai or something like that, and the chiraga, they did lightning.
So unbelievable. So this was clearly a colonial cult. You know, it was initiated as a colonial
I'm
cult.
more and more convinced that is true. I used to, when I was an Ahmadi, I used to say, yes, Maulviyon, you know, we were taught that yes, Maulviyon ka propaganda. Then I read the Majmua Ishtiharat, where he offered to spy for the British, even made a spreadsheet, and then also the Star of India, the Kaisar, Tofai Kaisariya, thank you very much. That is such an obsequious, servile tribute to the Queen, under whose regime millions of Muslims all over the world. And the other thing that's very interesting is Britain was not the only colonial power. What about France? And what they did in Algeria and Morocco and Tunisia? Where was Mirza Sahib there? Why didn't he ever condemn them? He probably didn't even know about that, because this is a very Punjab, pinned-oriented cult. where most of the people were in Qadian and thereabouts. My own grandfather, my Nana, who was a genius poet, sadly, he was impressionable at the age of 16. Some Murabbi got hold of him and he got converted. All the rest of his village, I remember his older brother, we used to visit them in a place called Gujranwala. I was a little kid and he was a doctor. And I'm just digressing a bit.
Your Nana's name, Dr. Sahab, your Nana's name?
Akbar Khan Asghar.
Akbar Khan.
From Kalanor. He was from Kalanor. He was a poet and one of his great, Akbar was his name, Asghar was his takhallus. So one of his poetry is, Barahe inkisari khud ko main asghar hi kehta hu. Mean out of modesty, I call myself small. Magar kuch meherban asghar ko Akbar Khan kehte hain. So because he was born in Kalanor, where Akbar the king was coronated, his father. But sadly, he got misguided. And I tell you what the Ahmadis did with him. He made a very good poetry about Hazrat Yusuf's, the chapter of Hazrat Yusuf, and he presented it to the second Khalifa. And he basically told him to just get lost. Because you see, they didn't want to be seen as if somebody else can also write something about the Quran, because they wanted to keep it very in-house. But I have great respect for him that sadly, if they had been alive, my parents, I would have absolutely convinced them. Even the Nida case would have been enough for my parents to have changed. But Allah's will is Allah's will. Please pray for the maghfirat. Yeah.
Absolutely. Qadar Allah ma shafa'al.
We have, I think, in the backstage, one guy, his name is Mirza something. So if you can just let us know that if you are a Qadiani or Ahmadi, so we can give you the opportunity. Please, if you can turn on your camera, please.
Dr. Sahab, my grandfather, my grandmother was one of the 313 mein se ek, matlab she was.
Wow. The one who were left behind in Qadian.
No. She was, she died actually before that.
Partition.
Yeah. My father was born in 1900. She took my father to Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. And she said that with your prayers and all that, your blessings, I got the son. He gave to my father name on his second son's name, Asalam. And he gave him like the honey and all the gutti. And my family was very proud of that one, that our grandmother is 313 Sahabi, my father is a Sahabi, like that. And when this incident happened, when I quit, I said, I'm going, my family was crying like a Karbala thing. I don't know what happened to this.
They should have been crying with joy.
Yeah.
And they were saying, don't you see that what the status we have in the Jamaat and all that, and we are close to the Prophet of Allah, this and that, and our father was so blessed. What you did this and that. Anyway, I came to know that my grandmother's brother, who was also from 313 Sahabi of Mirza, he used to do such a bad things, like he was a businessman in Qadian. He had a shop of this wood. जो लकड़ी का काम करते हैं, मतलब
hardware. Lumberjack.
Yeah, lumberjack. Or with the chuna, lakdi, koila, वगैरह. He used to put the water on that one to make it heavier. He was a Sahabi 313, but his acts were like these ones, to making for more money to make the light things heavier in weight. When I made a video about him, I said, look at this one, my father's uncle and my grandmother's brother, and they were so close that they are 313 Sahabi of Mirza, and their character is this one. You won't believe what happened to them and my family as well. They said, look, no, you are totally gone, you this and that, no, you are a Jahannami, you are challenging to the Sahaba of the Prophet, blah, blah, blah.
I think this is a very common thing for the Ahmadis who leave the cult. I was watching this sister's very sad story. Recently, I came across it, that she is a judge in Belgium now. I don't know if you guys know her.
I know very well. I know very well. I met her over there. Yeah.
She was very, very sad story. What happened to her parents is so sad. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
They were starved. They were deprived of food for many, many days, and they would. She said that they would go and actually stand on the roof and beg for food. That is there anyone can give us food, and they would not allow food to reach them.
Adnan Bhai, the son of first Khalifa, Hakim Noordine's son, the younger son, Dr. Sahab knows very well, Mia Abdul Manan.
Yeah, they were thrown out of Arabah.
Oh, what
they were thrown out. Their bags were taken from their homes. One of their sons, Osama, was kicked out of class in school, and they were chucked to Chiniot when Manan Sahab wasn't even there. And there was a khutbah, A.K. Sheikh Sahab will know, called the Khilafat Haqqa Islamiyah. Everybody should read that, in which he boldly says that Manan or his sons or his grandsons can never be Khalifas. This was a battle for Khilafat.
He blamed them, they were off. I interviewed Mia Manan, that the son of Hakim Noordin. I interviewed in England,
I see.
USA.
Do you have the recording?
That's how I do have the recording, but at that time that was a small cassettes.
I
Then
see.
actually, if you know that Dr. Muhammad Ahmad Hami,
Yes.
who used to write the Hasle Mutaliya in Al Fazl, and then Professor Zafar Iqbal, they both actually were my really teachers. They introduced me with Mia Manan, and I went to America to interview him. I have a lot of things in my memory that.
Yes, but remember you mentioned your mother and your father. Did they know that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad didn't even go to the funeral prayer of Fazl Ahmad, his own
Fazl
son?
Ahmad, yes. That if you look at the life of Sultan Ahmad, his elder brother, Fazl Ahmad was the younger, and Sultan was that one. Like he used to smoke and he used to drink in his father's presence. He was like that.
That I didn't know.
Oh, I know his whole story, to be honest, with that one. His everything.
Sheikh Saab, did anyone meet with Muhammadi Begum? Is there anything about her or from her?
Oh yes, from the Muslim side,
like
the people they met. Even I had very good relations with the Muhammadi families, Muhammadi Begum's family.
Okay.
And what they are making the story, yes, there is no doubt about one. Her son was he accepted the Ahmadiyya game. It's not a big deal.
It can happen. Yeah,
they were closely related.
Yeah. So she was from the Fazl Ahmad, where Fazl Ahmad was married to the Nizamuddin family. The Muhammadi Begum was from there, and he used to see. I have all his story and everything in that. Muhammadi Begum, that I believe Maulana Manzoor Chanyoti or someone like those time of period, they went and they met with her. And I have the picture of her grave.
Usme kalma hai, la ilaha illallah.
I have that. I can send you guys for that one. They met with her. But his family, like his sons, I met with Muhammadi Begum's grandson. Like they were my friends, those people. They never, her sister, Muhammadi Begum's one sister's name was Anayat Begum, Anayat Bibi. Like this Anayat, I know that. Anayat, she was not... And
they were very decent people.
Decent.
She maintained her dignity. I call her Rahmullah Alai. Because Muhammadi Begum alone, Allah Ta'ala gave Muhammadi Begum.
She was a great lady. She's a great lady, believe me.
May Allah grant her maghfirah.
Allah used her to prove him alive.
And her husband, a very decent man, they forged his letters. If you look at 3 facsimiles, they've got grammatical mistakes and errors. Like that old game, spot the differences, circle the differences.
I mean, that lady, believe me, she did not speak a one word about him.
Very dignified woman.
Whereas he printed the ishtihar and put over there in the
and the dream. Remember the dream?
Oh my God, dream! Like,
humiliating.
I wouldn't describe it here because there may be sisters watching. I don't want to describe the dream. It's awful.
But she was a very graceful lady.